As NBA teams are about to start what may be their most busy period in recent history, it's safe to say they have a lot of work to do. However, no team may face as many challenges as the Toronto Raptors. Aside from having to deal with the draft in the offseason, the 2019 champions are the only team that doesn't know where it will be playing its game in the upcoming season, given the existing traveling restrictions between Canada and the United States. But the Raptors will also be dealing with the possibility of some of their best players leaving once free agency gets going. Among those players is Fred VanVleet, who, despite not being a superstar, could easily be this year's best free agent and has already made it known he's looking to receive a good offer when it comes to his contract. So even if Toronto is in the driving seat, it will need to come out with good strategy if it wishes to keep the point guard along with its financial flexibility. Welcome to Courtside. Today we're taking a look at why VanVleet may consider leaving and why the Raptors should do everything they can to stop that from happening. Since there will be only a few days between the start of free agency and training camps, teams will look to upgrade their rosters as soon as they're allowed to, and the multiple trades that have already taken place are proof of it. But unlike most years, this offseason will lack a deep free agent class. Along with that, the financial uncertainty surrounding the league will make it hard for teams to spend large amounts of money, so we should expect most rosters to upgrade via trade instead of through free agency. However, that doesn't mean there won't be any players worthy of receiving a big contract, and that's where things get interesting for the Raptors. While VanVleet is not a superstar, he should gather a lot of attention. After all, he's already the most talented point guard available, and considering both Anthony Davis and Brandon Ingram are expected to re-sign with their respective teams, and DeMar DeRozan has opted into his player option, Fred could be the best player to enter the open market this year. But what makes him such an intriguing option entering free agency? Well, if you had to look at his averages, you might consider he's only a solid starting caliber point guard, but he's proven to be much more than just that. Ever since deciding to start his professional career, he's always bet on himself regardless of what the rest of the world might have thought about him, and the results have been excellent so far. After having a solid 4-year college career with Wichita State and declaring for the 2016 draft, VanVleet received a couple of offers to play in the then Development League from teams that were interested in selecting him in the second round. However, he declined those offers and instead opted to chase a roster spot with an NBA team. His search led him to the Raptors' Summer League roster, and after a few days, he received the final spot on the team. The point guard saw limited minutes during his rookie season and was often assigned to the D-League, where he helped the Raptors' 905 win that season's championship. But he started to show what he was capable of by the following year. Fred became a key piece for the Raptors team that broke the franchise's record for regular season wins. His play earned him a nomination for the 6th Man of the Year award and also an extension from Toronto. He continued to improve as a player during his third season, becoming one of the team's leaders off the bench during the regular season. Then, when the playoffs came around, he struggled during the earlier rounds but regained his form during the conference finals and had a crucial role in helping the Raptors win their first title. His improved play earned him a promotion to the starting lineup last season, and he made the most out of the opportunity. As a full-time starter, Fred improved his averages in all major categories. He formed an excellent backcourt along with Kyle Lowry and helped Toronto remain as one of the best teams in the league when most people thought they would collapse without Kawhi Leonard. His contributions to the team came on both ends of the court. On offense, he became the Raptors' most reliable threat on catch-and-shoot situations as well as one of the best passers on the team. Those skills helped Toronto become one of the best teams in transition. On top of that, he also was one of the best defensive players for the Raptors. Despite his size, he was able to guard bigger opponents, thus becoming a key element in what ended up being one of the best defensive teams in the league. So considering he's been able to make steady improvements during his first 4 seasons in the league while also becoming a key contributor to a championship contender, it's easy to see why teams should be interested in acquiring him as a free agent. But will that be enough to receive a massive offer from a team with cap space? As good as he is, there are a few concerns regarding VanVleet. The first of them being his size, which was also part of the reason why he went undrafted in 2016. While he's shown he's capable of holding his own against larger opponents, he's also struggled on a few occasions because of his size, and that is noticeable in his finishing ability when driving to the hoop. Despite being the Raptor that made the most drives per game last season, his efficiency when taking a shot inside was among the worst in the league. For example, he had the second worst mark among players who took at least 200 shot attempts on drives. That's part of the reason why most of his drives resulted in a pass. And while that wouldn't be a huge concern considering his efficiency shooting from outside, the truth is that his shooting percentages were a lot worse in pull-ups than in catch-and-shoot situations. In other words, while the point guard is excellent at creating plays for his teammates following a drive and shooting immediately after receiving the ball, he's not as good when it comes to creating a shot for himself. On top of that, there are some concerns regarding his ability to lead a team for himself. While he excelled during his first season as a starter and played even better in the playoffs, he shared most of his minutes with Lowry. That means he was a complementary piece of offense most of the time, and since both guards were behind Pascal Siakam in scoring, Fred was not exactly Toronto's first option when looking for a few points. So, what should we expect from him going into this free agency period then? Well, according to most reports, VanVleet should receive a contract similar to the one Malcolm Brogdon received from the Bucks last season. 4-year contract, about $85 million. If that's the case, there'll be few teams capable of signing him as a free agent. As things are currently standing, only 6 teams will have cap space when the free agency period gets going. And among them, only the New York Knicks and Detroit Pistons will require a point guard. The Pistons have reportedly been interested in acquiring VanVleet for a while now. And in the case of the Knicks, the point guard appears to be a fallback option if the team fails to add a player like Russell Westbrook. But since Chris Paul is already off the market, and no one knows for certain where Westbrook may end up playing, it could be good for the Knicks to start considering Fred as a top target. Still, if both franchises end up offering him a contract similar to that of Brogdon, there's no reason why VanVleet should leave Toronto. After all, the Canadians can offer him the same money and something neither the Knicks nor the Pistons have, a winning culture. But even if overpaying Fred should not be an option for either Detroit or New York, there's no way of telling whether any of them would be willing to offer the point guard a contract that goes well over expectations. If, for example, the Knicks offer him a $100 million contract, there's no way the Raptors would match that. As we know, Toronto wants to keep its financial flexibility to try to acquire another star in 2021, so the team will not be willing to pay more than it should. Yet again, it wouldn't make much sense for VanVleet to accept such an offer. According to what he said a few days ago, he's looking to get paid but is not necessarily trying to leave a good situation just for some extra money. In fact, he's repeatedly mentioned in the past how good he feels living in Canada and how much he values the chemistry he's developed with his teammates. And of course, he already won a championship with the Raptors and could possibly win another one in a few years. After all, he's expected to be part of the long-term plans of the franchise along with Siakam and OG Anunoby. Knowing that it's easy to see him becoming the next Kyle Lowry once the Raptors icon starts to decline, so changing a situation where he's considered a priority and can play for one of the best-run franchises in the league for the Knicks or any other rebuilding team doesn't seem like a smart decision. But given that most reports have talked about Toronto's confidence in its ability to bring back its point guard of the future, that's what may end up taking place. And we can recall a situation from a few years ago where the Raptors got just what they wanted. Back in 2017, Lowry was the one entering the open market, and there were multiple teams interested in acquiring the veteran point guard. However, the Raptors remained confident they'd be able to bring him back, and they were able to reach an agreement to do just that. And we could see something similar taking place this time around. So at the end of the day, Fred will be the one deciding where he wants to spend the next few years of his career. But even while there may be a few organizations willing to give him some extra money to try to acquire him, this race should be Toronto's to lose. A while ago, the Raptors were known for their inability to retain their own free agents. However, that hasn't been the case in recent years. The team has become one of the best in the NBA, both on the court and off of it. So turning that down could be hard for any player, especially if that player has spent his whole career with that team. But now, do you think VanVleet should consider leaving the Raptors? If so, where would you like to see him playing? Let us know in the comments. We hope you've enjoyed today's video, and if you did, remember to give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more NBA content. We are Courtside.